must do is embrace the vision.
What's good, Vizion Gang? You already know what it is. This is your boy DaVizion, and I'm back again with another MMA reaction. Today, I'm reacting to the 10 most exciting MMA championship reigns ever by MMA On Point. I'm really stepping into this video with zero really anything coming into it. I'm like a blank slate, y'all. The only championship reign I have ever seen from start to finish was Sean Strickland, so I know that one's not going to be in this video. At least I hope not. MMA On Point knows better than that. But y'all, this is gonna be fun because I'm really excited to find out who they think some of the best champions in the UFC were, because I would assume that if they have one of the best championship reigns, they were one of the best champions. That would just go hand in hand together, I feel like. You guys, if you guys are enjoying these videos just as much as I'm enjoying making these videos and watching these videos, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell if you really like the video, so you can be first to see the videos, and jab that like button to send this video to the moon, y'all, and we gonna go ahead and start this thing.
Being the champion ensures that you're going to be at the very top of every card you fight on, but it doesn't guarantee your fights are going to be entertaining for the folks who forked up the money to see you. Not a problem for today's fighters.
My boy Mighty Mouse, guess he wasn't entertaining because he was knocking everybody out.
The strap, and at the end of the day, isn't that what it's all about? Let's talk about these awesome runs.
Before we get into the video today,
what the hell was that? Like, dude was like doing like a front flip, kicking somebody in the face.
From time to time. And
I'm Tommy from MMA On Point, a match.
Let's get this thing started, y'all.
Hall of Famers, and these are the 10 most exciting championship reigns ever. Number 10, Nick Diaz. One of the great tragedies of this sport is that too many fans will only ever know Nick for his less than ideal second run in the UFC. They'll never know about his Strikeforce welterweight championship reign, the true peak of his career. Diaz took that title in a one-round slugfest.
I guess really good in Strikeforce before he made it to the big leagues.
Only to rally back and get a KO before the first horn. His first defense would be a rematch with KJ Noons. Insane volume in this one, nearly 900 strikes thrown between the two of them. A bloody and taunting Diaz would earn the UD to retain. Next, Nick took on Evangelista Cyborg, and this was classic Diaz. Eating leg kicks, death by 1,000 cuts, striking, of course shit-talking, all the way to the incredible armbar finish in the last seconds of the second round. Such a fun fight, but the topper, arguably the best single round fight of all time, was his banger with Paul Daly. The hype for this one was huge, the bad blood was there, and these guys beat the shit out of each other. A knockdown apiece before Nick would get the finish. Going in for the kill! And it's over! Diaz has made history! After that, Diaz was off to the UFC, thus ending his run with the title, but man, what a time. That was peak Nick. Number 9, Justin Gaethje. Back when the PFL was called the WSOF, everybody's favorite BMF was putting on the best fights outside the UFC as the promotion's lightweight champion. He earned the inaugural strap in a 60-second brawl with Richard Paddishnock.
Has him against the fence, and he is in trouble.
Okay, so y'all, before we continue on this video, one of the things I meant to say in my intro was I was really assuming that this video was going to be like other promotions outside of UFC, because it was titled MMA, you know. And hold on, I'm like way out of the camera's focus. Okay, there I am. So my bad on that, y'all. But anyways, they titled it MMA Championship Reign, so that was, I mean, it's pretty obvious that it was going to be outside of UFC, and I just thought I should have mentioned that in the beginning of the video, but I didn't, so my bad, y'all.
Paddishnock trying to hang on very early here.
Ooh, that was a elbow and an uppercut. Okay. Ooh.
Next up was a game Nick Newell, who he bloodied and beat down in the second round.
Oh, that's right.
And he's down and he's out and it's over, and Gaethje
ooh, they stuck him right on the jaw.
His next opponent, Melvin Gillard, missed weight, so it was non-title,
like
but they
Brunson.
still had a great 3-round scrap. Next would be two of Justin's best, a pair of wars with Luis Palomino, both of which Gaethje would finish.
Hey, that it was like a rear naked choke takedown. That looked disgusting. Ooh, my lord! He hit hard. That boy hit hard. Damn.
Next, He put away Brian Foster in a fast and frenetic first round that saw him win via leg kicks. His final defense before heading to the UFC would be against Luis Firmino, and this would be Justin's homerist of fights. He took a ton of damage, but managed over 3 rounds to destroy Firmino's eye and get the doctor to stop
that
it.
kick,
Dude,
that shit he doing, that shit is crazy.
Different animal. What a run.
What the hell?
Number 8.
What is that
Hughes.
called?
After human
That like is a what the hell is that? A front flip kick, cannonball kick. What the fuck is that? Someone let me know.
Actor Matt Hughes shockingly lost the UFC welterweight title to BJ Penn following a record-setting run with the championship. It did not take long at all for the Militich System product to get back to the title and have a run that would be the most exciting of his career. Hughes would take on future legend GSP in their first ever encounter for the vacant title in an awesome one-round display that saw the starstruck St. Pierre get armbarred in the closing seconds. This was followed up by the most exciting fight of his entire career, Matt's second defense against Frank Trigg, where he iconically got racked, survived a choke attempt, carried Frank across the cage, and put him out in one of the
Anytime you
most
carry
awesome
somebody across the cage, that's dope.
witnessed.
That is
The
dope.
country boy was rolling, and he followed that up by stomping Joe Riggs and Hoist Gracie in back-to-back non-title bouts before finally getting his chance to avenge his loss to the Prodigy. This instant classic saw Hughes wear down Penn across 3 rounds before earning a TKO stop. Not that GSP was impressed by it or anything, but he should have been. It was another great fight. Matt's time with the title would come to an end courtesy of a head kick by St. Pierre. Hughes even lost in spectacular fashion, the true mark of an entertainer. Number 7, Charles Oliveira. One of the most surprising and exciting career resurgences the sport has ever seen is the insane run at lightweight that the man known as Chuck Olives would go on after losing to Paul Felder in 2017. 8 fights and 6 performance bonuses later, the unlikeliest of veteran title contenders saw himself throwing down with Mr. Excitement himself, Michael Chandler, for the vacant UFC lightweight title. This fight is absolutely insane, even though it only lasts 5 minutes and 19 seconds.
Okay, he did quick work with Michael Chandler.
Charles on the brink of consciousness,
but
somehow the Brazilian survived the horn and then unbelievably put Chandler away in the first seconds of the next round. A legend was born, and in his first defense, he would take on another legend in Dustin Poirier. After a competitive first 10 minutes that saw the Diamond take the opening stanza and Du Bronx take the latter, the champ snuck onto Poirier's back standing and earned himself a second title victory via rear naked choke. Chandler, Poirier, if he fought Justin Gaethje next, he'd have defeated the fan favorite trifecta, and that is exactly what happened. After missing weight and being stripped, Oliveira cemented his place as an all-time great by having a 3-minute war with Gaethje that saw him knocked down early, only to rally and score one of his own before a beautiful rear naked choke finish.
Choked him out.
Technically, he wasn't the champ anymore, but it sure felt like it.
That's when he vacated the title match. When he vacated the title because of his weight loss miss.
The former champ did what he could, but was railroaded by the Dagestani and submitted in the second round. Doesn't matter. Oliveira at that point was fighting for gravy. Everything he did before that etched his legacy in stone. Number 6, Max
Isn't he
Holloway.
fighting UFC 300
to Volk's current
along
reign,
with
he's
Max Holloway?
Too good to make this list. He's so dominant that his competition rarely has a chance to make it a fight of the night, even if his performances certainly warrant bonuses. But man, Max Holloway is just the embodiment of entertainment in this sport. He started things off by earning a pointless interim featherweight title against Anthony Pettis, but in a great fight that ended in spectacular fashion. Then of course he had his back-to-backs with champ Jose Aldo, earning the strap in their first encounter that was a classic, and following that up with another awesome scrap. He finished Aldo twice and took the best the King of Rio had to offer, and then he had his peak performance against Brian Ortega, setting striking records, and while it was lopsided, it was beyond exciting seeing T-City somehow survive this onslaught by the champ, at least until he couldn't survive it anymore. Max would take a detour for interim lightweight gold against Dustin Poirier, and of course it was an instant classic. He returned to featherweight to earn his last successful defense in a fight with Frankie Edgar that saw insane volume, over 500 strikes thrown. Max
500 strikes. Sheesh, I gotta watch a Max fight.
So it's no wonder his time with
I need to watch one
as exciting as it gets. He would lose
Can't wait till UFC 300.
kicking off their trilogy of title bouts. Number 5, Chuck Liddell. The Iceman really was the right guy at the right place at the right time. His persona, his fighting style, and most importantly, his 2-year UFC light heavyweight title run that kicked off following the landmark first season of The Ultimate Fighter, of which he and Randy Couture coached.
Today we're doing fit checks.
very much helped build and define this very important era in the sport. When he took the title from Randy, it was their second encounter. Chuck had been shockingly TKO'd the first time. The tension in the opening minutes of their second fight, you can feel it in the air just watching it from home. This would be followed by an explosion of violence and a KO win. Liddell's first defense would be against a game Jeremy Horn, who somehow survived getting knocked down and beat down in both of the first rounds before making it a fight again prior to getting blinded in the fourth. He literally couldn't see, so they stopped the fight. The trilogy bout with Couture was next, and man, crowds for Chuck's fights. It was just a different atmosphere. After a competitive opener, Liddell would score a KO win out of nowhere in the second to cap off his rivalry with the Natural. Next, the Iceman would put away Renato Sobral in spectacular fashion before throwing down in his final successful defense against former friend Tito Ortiz. Chuck hurt Tito bad early,
and there's so many old school fighters I need to react to. I've heard these names multiple times, but I just don't understand the significance of it.
Liddell would try to reconcile with a ghost of his past in Rampage Jackson, who had defeated him in Pride, only to be viciously KO'd with a big shot in the first round. His legendary and insanely entertaining run had come to an end. Number 4, Brock Lesnar. While Brock Lesnar's time in the sport was very short, every second of it was insanely...
I'm pretty sure this is going to be this is like a controversial entry into this. I'm sure this is going to be the controversial one. Y'all who've been watching this long to even have witnessed this run, was this one of your favorite championship runs, or was it more based around the hype around this guy? Somebody let me know down below.
Entertaining, and like Chuck, he defined the era he fought in. The UFC threw his giant ass to the Lions in his debut, taking on former champ Frank Mir. Didn't end well for Brock, but he rebounded by steamrolling Heath Herring. Knowing they had a megastar, the UFC booked Lesnar to take on Randy Couture for the heavyweight title. Nerd! Randy! And the Beast Incarnate delivered, earning the title with a second-round finish, setting up a rematch with Mir. The build-up was huge. Lesnar delivered massively in the fight itself, and even though it was a one-sided bout, the excitement and entertainment was just off the charts. He would maul Frank on his way to delivering the best post-fight speech of all time.
Frank Mir had a horseshoe up his ass! I pulled that sumbitch out, and I beat him over the head with it! Woo!
His follow-up performance against monster Shane Carwin would be the highlight of his career. After getting absolutely demolished in the first, but somehow surviving the onslaught, Lesnar would submit an exhausted Carwin to retain his title in a classic that truly solidified Brock's legacy. Like many of the other champions on this list, he lost his title in an entertaining way, breakdancing his way to a TKO loss against Cain Velasquez.
What the fuck?
But yeah, man, if you missed this era, it's almost hard to describe how exciting Brock's reign was. You truly had to be there. It was really a time in the sport. Number 3, Fedor Emelianenko. Pride FC rarely had champions defend their titles. Fedor held the heavyweight crown from 2003 to 2006, but only defended it really 3 times, even though he fought 15. The stoic Russian earned the strap in a classic with Minotauro Nogueira,
15,
where he
but didn't
dominated
even
from the
defend the
Brazilian
title.
guard. If Sambo was easy, it would be called jiu-jitsu. After a pit stop in rings to Kimura Edjigitis Valabajus, Fedor returned to Pride for a non-title rear naked choke victory over Kaz Fujita. Some soccer kicks on Gary Goodridge, a TKO finish of Yuji Nagata and Inoki Bumbaye, and the last Emperor was ready for the 2004 Pride Heavyweight Grand Prix. In the opening round, he would easily armbar Mark Coleman, who took the loss incredibly well.
Damn.
Next, he would get dumped on his head and die at the hands of Kevin Randleman before coming back to life, and somehow
he won the fight.
The last 2 rounds of the tournament would be fought on the same night. First, Fedor made quick work of judoka Naoya Ogawa, and then in his first ever title defense, competed yet again with Minotauro in the finals. The bout was shaping up to be a classic until a head clash in the first 4 minutes caused a big old cut and a no contest. The Legends would run it back one more time later that year for the GP and the title. Just like the first, this was a classic. Fedor would earn the UD and solidify his spot as the king of the heavyweights. But kickboxing Terminator Mirko Krokop was on the rise. So after getting revenge on Yoshi Kosaka, Emelianenko and the Cop of Croatia would collide for the heavyweight title in one of the greatest fights the sport has ever had. Just a masterpiece of the human chess, which is mixed martial arts. Fedor would emerge victorious and essentially be considered the best of all time. After that, he would celebrate with a pair of hilarious follow-up fights. First, he put away destroyed giant-ass Zulazinho in 26 seconds, and then armbarred Mark Coleman after beating him so badly he terrified his own children.
Oh,
but
man.
Fedor's time in Pride as well as the promotion itself were coming to an end, and his final defense, which was meant to be against Josh Barnett, would instead be against Mark Hunt, who stunned the
young Mark
crowd
Hunt
and
right
the
there.
champ in a very tough fight
I
that
guess,
saw Mark
unless
on
he
top
lost weight
for most
later
of it,
on.
doing damage until Fedor secured the Kimura to retain his title a final time and end his legendary run in Pride. Number 2, Robbie Lawler. Just everything about Robbie Lawler's career resurgence a decade ago was so awesome. After 10 years away fighting anywhere but the UFC, the Ruthless One made his return, TKOing former welterweight title contender Josh Koscheck on his way in. He followed that up by headkick KOing Bobby Volker, which set up a title eliminator against the future of the division, Rory McDonald, that to the surprise of everyone, the vet was able to defeat. This got him his first shot at Johnny Hendricks, where he would come up short for the gold in a nail-biter. It looked like the late career resurgence was over, but no, Robbie was just warming up. He knocked out Jake Ellenberger.
Ooh,
he had
nice.
a classic with Matt Brown. Then he would do what puts him at number 2 on this list. First, he took the belt from Hendricks in a fantastic rematch, and then, oh my god, had 2 of the best fights in the history of the sport. First, it was the bloody rematch with Rory Mack, a fight largely considered the best bout ever. A more based opinion, though, is that his next one with Carlos Condit was actually even better because it was 2 back-to-back 5-round wars. They have yet to be topped at welterweight, or most anywhere else for that matter. Even though it was short and Robbie's reign would come to an end with a vicious Tyron Woodley KO, his brief run with the strap and the amazing story that led up to it made for one of the most exciting times the sport has ever seen. Number 1, Vanderlei Silva. In his 6-year reign as middleweight champion, he only actually defended the belt 5 times, but he fought 20, and every bit of it was fucking awesome. Silva earned the title by defeating Kazushi Sakuraba for a second time in a great fight, ended only due to Bandy breaking Saku's collarbone with a throw. Next, Silva would get a doctor stoppage win over the Diet Butcher Alex Otska before giving Kiyoshi Kimura an absolute beatdown in his first defense, capping it off with a big KO punch. From there, this absolute madman would fight Crow Cop at heavyweight, which was awesome. Then it was a fast head kick finish in a non-title against Tatsuya Iwasaki. Bandy's second defense would be a wild brawl with a very game Hiromitsu Kanehara, ending with his corner tossing in the towel. Next, Champ Silva would enter the Pride 2003 Middleweight Grand Prix and kick it off by KOing his good buddy Sakuraba. He would then win an all-time classic against Hidehiko Yoshida to put himself in the finals against Rampage.
And he beat
Jackson,
my boy Rampage. He face down, assed up my boy, man.
In the history of people fighting each other. Silva followed up the tournament win by KOing Minowa Man in a minute, taking us finally to his 3rd defense, a rematch with Rampage. This was a war, just a legendary back and forth that would end with Page going
that's when he did
a
it.
single knee this time.
Jeez,
Next,
man.
Andy would decide to fight Mark Hunt in an open weight bout because he's insane. Then it was back to middleweight for the 2005 GP, where he would shockingly lose to Ricardo Arona in the finals in a non-title bout. So they would run it back for the gold, and it was a close one. You could definitely argue Arona won, but the split would go to the champ. Because he's totally out of his mind, he then entered the 2006 Heavyweight Grand Prix, soccer kicked Kaz Fujita's face in, and then he flew too close to the sun. A rematch with Crow Cop in the semi-final would see Bandy head kick KO. It was the first time he'd been finished since 1998, and the first real knockout.
It must have been the hospital leg, not the cemetery leg.
The show would be defending his title a final time against Dan Henderson, and he went out with a banger. The 2 legends were slugging the entire time until Silva went to sleep.
Oh no!
There has never been a more entertaining title run, and there probably never will be. A massive shout to the editor of this video,
and that's why my boy is in the UFC Hall of Fame now. Big shout out to Vandy.
Please follow them on all their socials and check out their YouTube channel. A huge thank you to our channel champions. You guys are just fantastic. If you want to be fantastic like them, hit the join button. There's cool exclusive content. You might end up having say in some of our videos. Hey, if not, liking and subscribing would also be really cool. Comment down below the title reigns that entertained you the most. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I am out of here.
Alright, y'all. That was the 10 most exciting MMA championship reigns ever, y'all. Big shout out to MMA On Point for the dope video, y'all. There was some that I definitely did not expect to be in there. I definitely did not expect to see Brock Lesnar in there, but of course I am a casual, just like the video said. I mean, I'm a new MMA fan. I definitely had no idea it was that exciting. the fact that a lot of people don't seem like they're a big fan of him. So I didn't think that would make the video, but it did. So I'm really shocked about that. When my boy Charles Oliveira made it, I was really happy to see that. My boy Vandy made it, so I was happy to see that as well. Y'all, I'm enjoying making these videos so much. You guys, let me know who you guys want me to react to. Different fighters, different videos across all combat sports. Let me know down below who you guys want to see me react to next time. I might just react to your requests. Who knows? I try to get to as many as I can. I definitely be in the comments, reading, responding to you guys. I enjoy them. Keep them coming, y'all. I really appreciate that. If you haven't already done so and you're liking these videos as much as I'm liking to make these videos and enjoying this stuff, please subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit that notification bell if you're really enjoying the video so you can be first to see the video. And make sure you guys jab that like button to send this video to the moon, y'all. And as always, be safe and give it your all in whatever you're doing in life. And I'm gonna see you next time. This is your boy, DaVizion, and I'm out. Peace.
Don't see a thing about that paper.